Saturday gave Oklahoma fans something they haven't been able to say with much confidence in quite some time. A feeling that they actually know what this team wants to be. And not just on defense, where Brent Venables has built this program to live, but on the offensive side too. With John Mateer, Isaiah Sategna, and a number of new faces all around the rest of the skill positions, the Sooners didn't just look different in the spring game. They looked like a team trying to build a foundation around something we hadn't seen in a while either, a real running game. And if that's real, everything changes. Meanwhile, just 2 days before the spring game, Owen Heineke was in Cleveland County Courthouse fighting for his Sooner future and winning against the NCAA. And that begs the question, with everything that was going on this weekend, all the highs that you saw from the OU Sooners, did Brent Venables miss a massive opportunity by not putting the whole thing on television? It's Big Monday. You know we got to talk about it. Good morning, and welcome back to Rise and Shine College Football's Big Monday. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and if you love college football, especially the Oklahoma Sooners, you know you're in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss a moment of Hall of Fame college football. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Sooners for life, S4L. Logan Litkey, Dwayne Johns. What up? Top of the morning to you too, sir. Welcome into the show. Thank you for dropping by with us this Monday morning. Talk a little bit about what we saw over the weekend in the spring game. Going to get back into a little bit more about this Owen Heineke stuff and just the more I've thought about it over the weekend, the more it's just befuddles me a little bit as to what it is the NCAA is actually doing. And then I want to talk about why it was this spring game wasn't televised. I think it was a big mistake. I think Chris Mason said it perfectly the other day as to, one part of it, at least, of missing a golden opportunity to, advance the brand with recruits and throughout the country. And I also think that they missed an opportunity as far as keeping the fan base happy, which is what you really should be trying to do. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Hey. Yeah. Welcome me back to Hall of Fame college football as well. I've been on a little bit of a hiatus lately. Kind of needed to get myself back in order. Been some crazy stuff going on. We're not going to get into a bunch of it or anything like that, but I feel like needed a little bit of a break, just kind of get myself back mentally ready to go again as we get through the rest of the off season, the summertime, and get ready for what should be an amazing season of college football for these Sooners and throughout the SEC. I think it's going to be a heck of a season, man. It's a lot of new stuff coming up, but I needed some time to get myself together a little bit, so I took it. That being said, appreciate it. Glad I'm back. Glad you guys are back here watching as well. But let's talk about this spring game, man. The defense continued to look like the backbone of this team that it has been and we expect it to be. But I think that more than anything else, we got to see some things out of the offensive side of the football that should, at the very least, give you some hope going into the season because it looked so much different. Offensive line, looks steady. Obviously there's some questions about the depth there. I don't know how much I really feel like it's a huge question. I know that there's a lot of people talking about it, about whether or not there's enough depth there as far as once you get past the first group, because you have to expect some injuries throughout the season. And if you look at what Oklahoma's been over the last 3 or 4 years, you've had significant injuries throughout the offense, throughout both sides of the ball, really, but certainly on the offensive side for the last 2 or 3 years. But that being said, I also think that you've got some guys the way that they've been building through not just the portal, but obviously through recruiting and stuff like that. You've got young guys that are kind of anchoring this thing. It's starting to feel like they're in a good place there, and what they went and did, and the tight ends they went and picked up in the offseason through the portal that are supposed to make immediate impacts, looked like they were making that impact, like we kind of heard from Hayden Hansen over the last couple of weeks with this run game. I think that's huge, 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 because what you have to do to keep John Mateer healthy, and you need to keep him healthy, is keep him from running the football so much, keep him protected behind the offensive line and not scrambling out there into no man's land to get killed by linebackers and safeties in the SEC. I just think it's a bad idea to continue to test fate like that. Let's see. When you get to talking about John Mateer, and what he looked like, during the game, I mean, huge 70-plus yard touchdown pass to Isaiah Sategna early. They showed off early what they could do, and he was able to kind of move within the pocket and throw down the field, which is something we didn't see a whole lot of last year. He looked confident. It looks like his hand is in great shape again. Obviously, you want to keep him that way. And he said afterwards that it feels pretty much almost 100%. But he was able to make some throws. He missed a couple of throws too. But overall, the main thing that I think that you saw was just it didn't look like the same offense that we've seen. You saw a lot of new, I wouldn't even say wrinkles. It's really almost a new base offense, particularly with the run game. A lot of split zone out, a lot of, there were a lot of little counter plays, that duo play that they were talking about on Teddy and Gabe as well. That it's not something that you've seen a lot of 12 personnel, a ton of 12 personnel. In fact, I think it was mostly 12 personnel throughout the day. They were certainly vanilla in what they were going to try to do with a lot of that stuff. But overall, I would say that, I really liked what I saw. And, you had guys like DeZephan Walker out there just running through holes, cutting back against the grain, nice little counter plays. He had a couple of, 25, 30-yard runs that he could have broken. You saw Jonathan Hatton. I mean, that's a big dude making big-time yardage too. 12-yard touchdown run where he breaks like 3 tackles to get into the end zone. That was big. And these are the kind of things, if you can actually set yourself up by running the ball that way, you're going to give John Mateer a lot better looks and a lot more chances to have explosive plays on the offensive side of the ball. I believe that Torrey Blaylock and X-Rob are going to be your starters more than likely. But if you need these other young kids, I think they're ready to go, man. When that's the position where, we've talked about it before. If your dog's going to bite, they bite as a puppy, as a running back. These puppies bite. I loved seeing that. Liked seeing what a lot of the stuff that we saw out of some of the receivers as well and the tight ends. And not to get too crazy over the damn spring game, because it is what it is. It's just a spring game. So you're not going to get a ton from it. But what you saw were changes that we know had to be made in order for this team to move forward. And I think that's as big a big thing as possible whenever you start talking about what Oklahoma has an opportunity to do in 2026. They're kind of in that window where you expect them to make a run at a national championship. Just the same way that a lot of people were talking about Texas making a run at a national championship, but Oklahoma should be right there with them. And the excuses are kind of out the window at this point. Chris and I sitting there watching the game, and he even said to me, he goes, "Man, I kind of hate it. I was telling my uncle that I don't know that I'm going to have a lot to argue with about if they don't get it done this year, if Mateer doesn't look better, because they've given him everything he needs to be successful." He ain't wrong. I think that, but you saw some good things out of Mateer. I think that there was, as I said the other night, there was nothing that he could have done in this spring game that was going to make me just automatically believe that he's got everything fixed. Nothing. He could have went out there and looked like Tom Brady at his best, and it still doesn't matter until you get into the bullets start flying against Michigan and Georgia and Texas in those first 5 weeks. That's just the bottom line with me. At the end of the day, he appears, though, to be working on the things that we know that he needs to work on, which is getting those feet set underneath him, reading the defense a little better. You can tell that he's working on that stuff, and that's all he could have really done, and that's all he can do up until this point. So, look, it's cautious optimism, but I definitely have optimism about this team. What's up, man? T Boomer? S4L Lloyd Avant looks great. Absolutely. Logan Licky, he says, you have to give it up to Arbuckle that he's willing to change things and not be stubborn. It's still early, but it's a good sign. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And I think, when you have an offensive mind like Kevin Wilson at your disposal, and you've got a new running backs coach like Dalen McCullough, that they've had the amount of success that they've had together and separately with running games throughout their careers, and you don't give them everything that they can to, or you don't pay attention and try to do some things and learn from that, then that would be pretty dumb on his part. I think it's also kind of been thrown in his face too. But listen, I agree with you. I think that you have to, if you really are what he said he was coming in, that he wasn't married to anything, wasn't married to any scheme or any way of doing things, then yeah, he had to do that, because Coach Venables made it a mandate that they were going to run the football and be physical on that side of the ball. And that's what we've been talking about, building from that. The physicality on the one side of the football was one thing, but when you're not playing as physically on the offensive side, you can't call yourself a physical football team all the way around. You just can't. And if you're really going to be, a contender for the national championship, you got to be a physical football team all the way around. You got to be able to go and get them hard yards sometimes and play complementary football. And we hadn't seen that yet. We've yet to see complementary football. When Lincoln was here, it was not complementary to the defense being worth the crap, and they weren't. And now the defense has been good and the offense has struggled. And so you got to complement each other. And so in order to do that, you had to make those changes. But I agree with you. I think Logan, I think you're right, 100%. Let's see. Let me go back a little bit, because I know I saw that it was 13 of 19 with a TD in the spring game. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Who on the offensive side of the ball stuck out to you in a good way? If you all covered that, sorry, got here late. No worries, Cherokee. Good to see you in here. Yeah, obviously, the Zephyr Walker looked really good. Avant looked really good. McKenzie, what's his name? The kid from Washington State. I like that guy. It's a good route runner. You can tell he understands what it is that you're supposed to be doing in this offense, which is a good thing. And you got to like what you were kind of seeing from some of the young guys coming in there as well. Listen, I think that with the injuries that you've had, some of the, to some of the older guys, and them just kind of being a little careful with them, I think it's good. It gives the other guys a really good chance. But yeah, I got to tell you that at least somewhat liked what I saw out of John Mateer. Again, he's doing the things that we're asking him to do. There's only so much that he could have done up until this point, but it's a good sign for, going forward anyway. I heard that Sark game plan for 3 months for our spring practice finale not looking good. What does that mean? Oh, yeah. Yeah, well. And that's the one thing, overreacting. You can't overreact to any of it because, again, it's a spring game. We're talking about none of it. I mean, it doesn't show up on the wins, losses, or anything like that, but it does tell you that they're in a certain place. And, I kind of judge it by, a lot of times coaches are going to do their coach speak and, everybody's undefeated right now and all that kind of stuff. So it's all well and good, but you could just tell that there's a different level of confidence coming out of Brent Venables. There just is. He just seems like he feels like this team is ready to kind of take another step, and I'd love to see it. I hope he is. I really do. With the performance of the 3 running backs, Blaylock and Robinson better strap it up. There's a new running backs coach, and his view might be different than the fan bases. Listen, I think obviously, they showed what they can do, and when it gets the rest of summer, the workouts that they're going to be doing and stuff like that, absolutely, I think you're right. And look, I think that those guys know that. It should be the best guy plays, the best guy for the position plays, and whoever shows up and does right. What we saw last year at the start of the season was Torrey Blaylock gave himself an opportunity to play. Nobody expected him to be starting. He played as part of the biggest rotation for the entirety of the season, starting in week 1. And he busted up his shoulder in week 1. He's out right now because of the fact that he played throughout the season with that injury. So they had to get surgery. They're just waiting it out. He's going to be all right. X-Rob, I think, has to show us that he can stay healthy because he hasn't stayed healthy throughout his 2 years at Oklahoma. He's had some injury issues, both in his true freshman year, and, he really only played in like 6 games. And he had some injuries then. Then he had injuries last year. He kind of came on towards the end of the year, but he was hurt again at the end of the year. It's a concern that I know that K. Chris has talked about it a few times, and it's something that people have to be – you got to pay attention to it because he's missed some time that you kind of needed him to be available. And so, to me, I would tell you that if I'm worried about either of those two, I'm not worried about either of them. I think they're both fantastic running backs, and I think they both are the lead dogs coming into it. That being said, listen, you should have to always look over your shoulder no matter what on any football team, no matter what. Because those guys should be trying to take their spots. This is when you have a great team, is that it's tough to hold those guys off behind you, right? And at the end of the day, there hasn't been enough really going on as far as hey, what up, Crow? Thank you for the super chat. Yes, sir. What's up, man? Good to see you. Thank you, sir. Where's Big Mike? He ain't gonna make it, man. I tried to get him to come on. I wanted to talk to him a little bit about what Mike Jr. looked like, because boy, I know a lot of people. I was wondering what he was thinking when Junior come through the line like that, and I mean, he could have blown Beau Bentley up. He could have worn him out. And I wonder if he was thinking that he was going to do it, because a couple of years ago, and he was worried about him hitting Jackson Arnold in his first year, and so that's the same. The spring game is when he blew up Bauer Sharp. So he could have definitely done that to Beau Bentley. Glad that he didn't, man. Glad that he didn't, because he could have hurt him. He couldn't, and Beau wouldn't have had nothing to do but just get crunched. But yeah, I was wondering what was kind of going through his head, because I remember him saying that he was freaking the hell out about him possibly hitting Jackson Arnold back in the day. So I thought that was pretty funny. He's not going to make it in, though. Sorry about that. Let's see. Let me get back deeper into this. Okay. Think Arbuckle got told to make changes. I know BV had to be frustrated with him after last season. Yeah, I think so. I think so, Big G. I don't know how much of a, it doesn't feel to me like there was a big argument though about it or anything like that. It feels like he's on the same page here. I mean, hopefully he is. If you're Ben Arbuckle and your offense was as bad as it was running the ball, and you were clearly the reason, your offense was clearly the reason that you didn't make it deeper in the playoff with the defense like that, you got to know that your job is not safe and secure if you don't figure it out. So I don't know that there was a lot of pushback from him going on with all this, but I also would tell you that it's Brent Venable's job to make sure that this team is doing what it's supposed to do. Right? It is his job. So, kind of is what it is. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. 100%. 100%. I think you need to go and make a real run at it. There's not any excuses. He did look like he was going through his reads, T. He did. You did? Okay. Okay, S4L. Yeah, I saw that 47 straight. They didn't get under center, and I was kind of, at the end of the day, I think that that's something they'll probably end up. I mean, you did see him do it a little bit last year at the first part of the year, but it feels like if they're going to run the football with the amount that it feels like they're going to, and like I said, the main thing that I know that Chris and I really felt like we enjoyed seeing was the fact that there was a lot of different formations, man. Formations that you haven't seen in a long time, probably since 2008, 2009, back when Kevin Wilson was the OC. Where you've got bunched up formations. The 12 personnel stuff was cool, but you didn't see a ton where you had 3 receivers on the field. And sometimes not even 2. I mean, it's theoretically they could be running 13 personnel if they want to. So I think you're going to see a lot of differences in there, and I like it. I love it, man. If they get under center, man, I don't know what I would have done if they'd have got under center the other day. Feels like the old days of the morning show. Yeah, I may go back to the morning show, man. Like I said, I took about 3 weeks of not really doing much, and so kind of had to get things going for me mentally, get myself back ready to go into it. There's been some stupid shit going on, and just Trent Williams just got paid. Woo, $50 million. That means that's getting towards the end of his career. But Trent's a bad dude, man. He's gotten paid a shit ton of money too in his time. He's been around for a minute. The greatest left tackle probably in NFL history, man. Really. Call him up. Y'all want Big Beau? Sorry, man. I'd love it if he was here too, but Aline, yeah. Mackenzie Aline got a little Burks in him. I hope he's good. I don't know. He's better than Burks to me. Well, injuries would be a thing. Jasir Rogers. I agree. He is. It's encouraging that I'm giving him a second chance. DeMarco wasn't the answer. Good recruiter. Yeah. Look, I'm not gonna dog DeMarco. We don't know the ins and outs of why it didn't work the way it did. And we don't know that it would be any different this year if DeMarco would have stayed. But maybe it was just time. Maybe it was just time for him to go. You know what I mean? I would tell you that I feel like Coach Wilson can work with DeMarco Murray the same way that he could probably work with Dalen McCullough. But I do know that he's a fan of Dalen, and they worked well together at Indiana. Dalen McCullough's been an unbelievable running backs coach everywhere he's been. And I would tell you that I think it was probably about that time. I think X-Rob has the best chance to stay healthy this year. The depth of the running back is better than it has been in the last 2 and 3 years. I think Hatton and Walker are going to bite early and often. Are you saying going to bite early and often? Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fan of Torrey Blaylock, man. That guy's a home run waiting to happen. He just didn't have a lot of opportunities to do it last year. And something that when Teddy and Gabe were talking about the show yesterday, on their show yesterday, that was that making that defense move from side to side where, a lot of times they're just staying in their position and you're running right into them. It was just, there just wasn't a lot going on with the run game and the way they were doing it. So I think that it's good to see that they're changing the way that they want to do things. The base of the offense, the base of the run game looks like it's going to be more of that split zone duo kind of deal on the, running to the outside, cutting back against it, man. I mean, when you see counter plays hitting big like that, and I guarantee you these guys are not with Hatton especially, you ain't getting that guy down with arm tackles, man. You're going to have to hit him. Oh, whatever. We'll never financially recover. What are you talking about, Benji? We're not the ones that spend all the money on receiver like you guys did. Yeah, you can tell he's got a big influence. Got to run the football. Agreed. Yeah, no, that's where he had his fingerprints all over it, man. It's something, seriously, looking at the formations and the way that they were doing things, it kind of takes you back to that time when he was the OC. And if you go and look at some of the stuff they were doing at Indiana, you go and look at some of the stuff they were doing at Ohio State when he was with Urban Meyer, when he was the coordinator, a lot of the same stuff, man. A lot of the same stuff. And they ran the hell out of the ball at Ohio State. So, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I did. Why did Beau Bentley look bad? Beau Bentley was running with probably the third stringers more than anything else on the offensive line. And he's a freshman. It's brand new to him. He just got there. I don't know that I'm ready to just write him off just yet. But he's a freshman, and he didn't look great. I'll give you that. He didn't look great. He threw some balls up there that you can't make those throws. But I guarantee you that's something that they're working on immediately. I would tell you that the people that have expected him to be the number 2 guy, I know I even heard Parker Thune was, predicting that. Okay. If you go with him instead of Whit Neubauer right now, I think you'd be nuts. Flat out crazy. And as far as Jet New goes, I like Jet. He's a little small, man. And I think he struggled a little bit as well. But at the end of the day, these guys are going up. Bentley was going up against the number one defense a lot of the day. That's part of the reason why he looked bad. When you're going up against the headhunters and they were getting pressure on him because you didn't have the number 1 lineman in there, and there's a drop off right now. There's going to be. Now, there's some guys that did some good things, but it's as a unit is how it kind of works out there. So, and again, he's a freshman. But tell me which quarterback had a great game against this defense last year in the SEC, starting quarterbacks. None of them. You had various levels of, well, I guess Trinidad Chambliss would be the one that you'd say, wow, what a game, right? But look what he did to Ty Simpson. Look what they did to pretty much to everybody else. Joey Aguilar. They beat him up. And aside from, like I said, aside from Trinidad, nobody really did much. What's up there, Duke? Good to see you, man. Remember the fans bitching about Kevin Wilson too? Hey, man, they bitch about them all. Yeah, I think Aline looks a little Hollywood to you. Okay, I like that. Is Bentley going to make us remember the O'Neal saga? I'm not going there. I'm not going there, man. I'm still a little. I wish they had not have done that. Wish they had not done that. Is that what you think, Benji? Come on, man. He would never. He would never. Avant, as it stands now, would be the projected starter. Okay. Ex-Robin Torrey had to be looking at the pups thinking they got to step it up. Yeah, I don't know, though. Again, Ex-Robin Torrey didn't get to run the same scheme and behind the same level of linemen and tight ends out of 12 personnel that these guys got to run out of either. Right? And I mean, you want to talk about a tough dude. Torrey jammed up that shoulder and screwed it up in week 1 and played the rest of the season through it as a true freshman. He's electric. You give him some holes like they were running through the other day and see what he does. I'm not ready to write these kids off. I'm not ready to write anybody off. But it's supposed to be a competition anyway. It's supposed to be a competition. The right guys are going to end up playing. Right. Yeah. It's at Oklahoma, man, the expectations are way high. They threw a bunch of benches at, well, and that was a third and long and opportunity for Beau to kind of see what he could do against just you could have just kept it vanilla. And what does BV do? Throws the house at him. I loved it. Oh man. USCJ, what up, my guy? Man, I'm way behind still. What up? Was Megatron linebacker in a blue jersey in the spring game? If so, why? I don't know if he was. I don't remember if he was in a blue jersey or not. I think it was just. I want to say it was just. What's his name? Oh man. The other baseball player that's been around I think and that was from injury stuff, I think. But I don't think that that's the case when it comes to. I don't believe that was going on with Kristen. He looked pretty good, and everybody's been excited about him anyway. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Again. It's hard to sit and just blame anything on the running backs from last year. They didn't even, first of all, you didn't give them enough carries to make judgment on it. Number 2, things were not the same. It just wasn't the same. Yeah. The white team O-line didn't look as great. You're right. I mean, to some extent it didn't. But again, that's a lot of the guys that are still kind of they're newer dudes, and I think individually, some of them probably were a little better than some, but one breakdown on an offensive line, they work as a unit and they get judged as a unit. It can break down in one place and make them all look bad. And especially against, and again, let's remember that line was going up against the number one offense. Or the number one defense. I'm sorry, the number one defense. And look at the way that, man, those defensive linemen that, Jaden Jackson wasn't there, Stoney wasn't there playing. Those dudes made it look like they didn't miss much there. The depth you definitely have depth there. So it's tough to really, again, how many offensive lines in the SEC were able to deal with that defense last year, and especially the guys up front in the front seven? Not many. Not many, man. So Marcus James was in blue. Yeah, James Nesta was for sure. Brother. This is a knee-jerk thing to say, S4L. He's been hurt up until this point. He barely got back to action. So, and would you be saying that if Material would have hit him on that deep ball? Because he had him wide ass open in the end zone. Wide ass open. Parker's going to be all right. Was rolling Fasusi? I don't know about all that. Fasusi looked really good. Krell, I think he had his moments. CJ Nixon looked really good too at times. I mean, Danny Okoye is a freaking problem for the SEC. Promise you that. Jasir Rogers, like him a lot. Wilson and Smith on the D-line look like they're ready. Hey, man, you guys know how I feel about Smith, and, he's been one of my favorites. I've been waiting to see what he's going to be. He's waited his turn behind G-Baby. I think he kind of knew that was going to be a thing, but he looks like he's ready. And, yeah, man, and then Trent Wilson, man, dude they're making their presence felt for sure. He did indeed. He's always hurt though. Okay. Yeah, I wish they'd stop playing that song, to be quite honest with you. After that whole deal with 50 Cent coming out. I think if anything, it pumped up Alabama more than it did Oklahoma. Okoye machine. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, man. That's awesome. It triggered him. Whose celebration? What celebration are you talking about? Was it the quinceañera this past weekend, bro? Let's see. Oh, it was Saturday. Okay. Whee! Man. All that money is gone, man. How's your finances? Are you hurting, man? You got to get your ass to work, huh? Oh, damn. Damn. Well, congratulations to her on becoming a young woman. It was beautiful, but you're broke. Yeah, I feel you, man. Want to see more deep passes to spread the defense a little, but the short passes are there. How impressive was Rocky Beers, and the running game looked solid. They didn't show their full hand. Yeah. No, they weren't going to show their full hand. I mean, apparently they were so worried about scouting or whatever, or people being able to scout their team. That's why they didn't want to put it on television, which again, I think is ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. Um, I think they made a big I think Coach Venables made a big mistake. For what you may have saved yourself, look, if what the culture is in this locker room is really what we're to made to believe that it is, that these players love playing with each other and for this team, I think it's crazy that you wouldn't, um, put that out there. Oh, I got a special guest in the house. I love it. I love it. Check it out. Let's see. Welcome into the show, father of Reggie Powers III, Mr. Reggie Powers II. What's up, Coach? How you
What's
doing,
going
man?
on, man? How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's a good weekend, man. It's a good weekend. Were you in Norman?
Yeah, I came down. It's my third one in a row, so
Yeah.
it's good. It's good.
Yeah. What'd you think, man? We've been just kind of talking about it a little bit about the differences, and particularly with the offense looked a lot different, didn't it? Just a lot of different formations that we saw. Different way of doing things, right?
Yeah, it was just like you said, the formations. There was definitely the focus on the run. You see guys breaking tackles, which we haven't always seen, and just everybody had a purpose and like knew what they were doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like even
Yeah.
when it wasn't perfect, they were able to, there wasn't just going down on first contact, running through trash. So they did a good job, man.
Falling forward is a good thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
When you finish falling forward, that's a good thing. No, look, I was surprised to see it. Just the amount of changes. It feels like, even the formations were just so much 12 personnel, and just different looks than we've seen in
yeah.
a long time. It feels like Coach Wilson and definitely Coach McCullough definitely got their fingerprints on this a little bit, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, any coordinator, young, old, like you want to have some people that come in and help you out. It's still your deal, but like you always got to add to your bag, man. Just like
Oh
a
yeah,
receiver is, or a edge. You can't just come with the same stuff every year. You got to evolve and still make stuff your own.
absolutely, absolutely. So listen, man, part of the reason I wanted you to come in is I'm excited about this, about obviously Michael and Reggie kind of coming into their own. They're expected to start more this year, and it's kind of their time now. How excited are you, and how excited is Reg for what's coming this season?
Oh, it's good, man. He put in the work, and it kind of really shows like freshman year might be special teams, and you try to get to in the two deep, and then when it's your turn, that junior year to start. So he's good. He's working hard. He's preparing for it, making sure he's working on his film study more and more, and just the older guys like the Billy Bowmans, the Spears, the Paytons. They've all helped him, and like they make sure that room is good, even though he bounces back and forth with the Cheetah as well.
Yeah.
And then just adding Coach Goodwin last year is just like so they had a specific coach. Like he's ready, man. He's ready.
Yeah, and now he played a lot of that same position kind of whenever he was in high school anyway, right? Cheetah was kind of a natural move for him, isn't it?
Yeah, they called it the Elk at his school because they were the Centerville Elks. But yeah, he's played that since he's a freshman in high school. So
Right.
he just had to Oklahoma. Of course, it's more advanced with BV's playbook and terminology and stuff like that. But the
Sure, sure.
basics of it, covering the flats, what I'm saying, doing all that stuff, being a man, blitzing, helping in the run, like he's always been doing that. So I think that's why they came and got him.
Well, good stuff, man. I mean, it's how did you feel like they looked as far as the other day? I mean, it looks like, I mean, obviously you had, Stoney out, Jaden Jackson out. You had some guys that really stepped up, but it felt like you didn't really have a lot of drop off from the last, and obviously it's a spring game. You can't judge a ton about it on it, but it looks like they all kind of knew where they were, and it didn't see a lot of differences. I didn't feel like, and the guys that were stepping into new position or stepping into the, more of a prominent role, they knew what their job was, right?
Yeah, and that's what you want to do. You not want to have a lot of drop off, and
Yeah.
because Jaden and Stoney have been out the whole spring, them dudes have got a lot of reps, right? So they went out there, used to be going out there with the ones. Like it's like they're looking at it like this is where I'm supposed to be. So that's what you
Sure.
want. I think a lot of people are worried just because they don't have a lot of snaps coming in, but like Reggie and Boganowski didn't have a lot of snaps last year, right? Like if the coaches are putting the dudes out there running in the rotation, they're ready to play. So
Yeah.
just
No
people
doubt.
get worried.
Especially, yeah, you have to trust these guys on that part for sure.
Yeah, yeah, especially on defense, man. It's like because they're basically just it's basically all of their guys that are getting out there on the field. So of course they go to the portal to fill some voids, but they're developing their dudes, and those are ones who are the real problems.
Sure. Sure. Man, I'm excited about it. One thing that, you know, obviously after last year, it was a tough way to watch them go out and everything. But the defense, we've been saying a lot on this show and on the other shows that I do, like with K. Chris and Chris Mason and those guys, that you almost expect the defense to take another step forward and be just as good. And really with a complementary offense that can put points on the board and can kind of run the tempo or direct the tempo of the game kind of with running the football,
Yeah.
that it could even be better this year. I feel like they definitely, the players are definitely, the talent level there's no drop off there for sure.
Oh yeah, and that's how it's been getting. Like the longer a, a coach is allowed to implement his system, players are going to get longer. They're going to get faster. They're going to get bigger. So the kids they're bringing in, because like all the freshmen, like there's no little dudes out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's like zero. There's nobody that's
I know,
little.
dude.
So
I know. They seem like they're ready to rock and roll a lot quicker, man.
especially the linebacker room is getting like going forward. They're probably not going to have anybody under 6'2" as a
Right.
linebacker. You know what I mean? So they're doing good, man. You just got to trust
What do
the
you think
development.
about the linebackers? Now, obviously, there was some concerns. Owen Heineke coming back, I think, is a big deal.
Yeah.
As far as that's concerned, but when you lose a guy like Taylor Heim, you worry a little bit about the depth there a little bit. But looks like like Kristen Haynes and some of these other, or Kristen. No, that's not his last name. But anyway, the kid from Alabama that came in, the freshman kid, he's
Or
looked
more.
pretty good. Yeah, they've looked pretty good, man. So a lot of these kids. What do you think about that unit as a whole, though? Do you feel like they're going to be? Obviously with Kip and Owen, you expect a lot, and I think James Nesta has been kind of biting at the bit to get his opportunity. But past those guys that you expected to be starters, what are your thoughts about the rest of that?
I expect they've got the mix that they had last year, right? They basically were playing four. So I don't know who 4 and 5 will be, or whether it be Nesta or Marcus James. Like I don't know that part,
Marcus
but like
James, he looked good the other day,
the
didn't he?
three the three like you just said are going to be solid, and they're going to get the majority of snaps, and that allows Owen come back, lets Nesta be able to get into his natural rhythm and not get forced to maybe have to play 400 snaps or something like that. He can. It's time for him to take over next year, be good to go. Same like some of the other younger guys that
Obviously, Cole
now
Sullivan
are.
is a nice addition as well, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. He's a long dude, and I think he's got the frame to even put on more weight. Not that he has to, but like he's a big dude, but like he's still, you can see that frame could probably add another 10.
Yeah,
So
no
yeah,
doubt.
and Reggie said he's a dog. He said once he gets everything, he's a dog. So he's told me that
Yeah,
multiple times, just me not even asking.
man, that's awesome. That's awesome. You could tell. Yeah, they've been excited about him since they got him. I know there's a couple of Michigan guys that watch the show quite a bit, and they're pissed off about him not being at Michigan anymore.
Yeah,
They're not happy.
I'm friends with Jordan Marshall's mom. Like he's from Cincinnati. Their running back, number 23. He was him and Haynes were the running backs last year, so he's going to get him more of the
Yeah,
load this year. And like they did miss him.
no doubt. No doubt. Let's see. How many linebackers usually out on the field? Usually, sometimes two, sometimes 3 and 4. It just kind of depends. They kind of mix it up.
Yeah,
They
it's
kind of
like
mix it up.
third and three, they'll bring out three because that's like when like Daniels would stay out there because he was he played cheetah too, but like that's a lot of Sam and in passing situations where Edge would come in. So two
Yeah.
to three most of the time.
Yeah. Let's see. Nesta looks to be talking the Owen Heineke role of last year, taking the Owen Heineke role of last year. Yeah, Ryan, I think so. And he's looked really good from everything we hear.
Yeah. No, he's doing good too. Reg says he's doing good. He just needs to get his snaps, man. Get those once it comes to September 4th or 5th, whichever day that is, when the bullets are flying. But he'll be prepared, and like he's not going to be forced to be the dude right away. So that's good.
Right. What were your feelings about John Mateer? Give us your feelings about that. How he looked in comparison to last year.
Looked, like under control, knew what he was doing. A lot of the throws were good. A couple were, a little high, but you can't expect perfection. You know what
You're
I'm
not going to
saying?
hit every one of them. No.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. But like overall, he was good. It's with that running game is really going to help him because he's going to give him a clearer picture. So he keeps making the strides he's doing. I think we're in for a solid season.
No doubt. But and then as far as like tight ends, that's a different deal, right? Seeing the tight ends are monsters, right? So it
And they
just
all
kind of changes the whole dynamic of what it is that you can do, right? I just think
yeah, because they all can block. They all get the proper size. No one's undersized. And
right.
they were all catching the ball like somewhere in the flat, somewhere a little deeper down the field, like the one Hanson. So it's like they're gonna have to be accounted for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like because the deep one that Hanson got, he was wide open. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
they were able to run the ball, so the eyes were looking in the backfield, and he just slipped out. So if we get some cheap first downs, cheap touchdowns, and stuff like that, that's just going to help the cause.
The explosive plays have got to be there, and I think that's what the running game will probably help you accomplish more than anything else, right? I mean, just knowing that you have to honor the run game, you have to respect it and plan for it. Otherwise, they're going to beat you there, But the second,
Yeah.
if you start creeping up there to load the box up and stuff like that, that's when you can make those explosive plays. I think it's as big as anything. I think that Mateer definitely needed to work on some things as far as mechanics and stuff like that were concerned, and like his reads. But I also think you needed to find a way to make the game easier for him, right?
Yeah, he had to do too much last year.
Yeah.
He had to do way too much. So taking some off he of course it's the quarterback, but taking some off the plate where you don't have to be a superhero every game. You know what I'm saying? Being able to run the balls, you're probably going to be able to have less carries and have some design stuff. But if you have to scramble, get out of bounds, get down. You know what I mean? We don't need him to be a running back.
Right. Yeah, and I felt like there was way too much running for him last year, just way too much. And if you could keep him to five to seven, attempts or something like that are design runs or whatever that are going to catch him off guard, it's cool. But you need to have the lion's share going to the running backs, man. You got to do it.
And especially now that we look like we got five, run the rock, dog. Hand that thing off, man. Our line was firing off. Hand the ball off, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Fasusi and Foley looked really good, I thought, the other day. EPL looked really good as far as the offensive line was concerned. I think Michael is looking like, he's a different dude from last year, the center, man. And that's important, man, especially in the run game.
Yeah, well, him coming this summer, the Stanford weight program in Oklahoma's is completely different, you know what I'm saying? So he's been able to be there since January because everybody that came over last year from Stanford was the other guy, I forget his name. I'm going to mess it up. That ended up transferring.
Was it Backlinko?
Center too. Yeah, so now Jake is, this is going to be his second year and his first full to 9 months of working with the big boys. He's going, he gets to 305, 310. That's perfect for a center.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, and I heard Gabe and Teddy kind of talking about keeping the guards at more around 315 than getting them to 330 so that they could move a little better, pulling guard or whatever, and that kind of stuff, which makes a lot of sense if they're going to be doing what they're doing with the duo plays and more of that stretch zone and outside stuff, instead of just running it right up the middle. I like the way they were moving it around as far as that was concerned and firing off the ball because it seemed like with the RPO, it just doesn't allow you to fire off the ball. You don't really know what's coming. It's
Yeah, you know what's going on. And then with the weight too, like it gets to the point where it's negative return after that. You know what I mean? Like you get to 330, 335, 340. Because remember when the Becci first got it, he was 340, and he was much better his second year when he got down to like 330. It was
no
able,
doubt.
you know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
get unless you're like 6'8" or something like that. Once you get over 330, you're kind of lumbering a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little sluggish.
Yeah,
Not as quick. Certainly not as quick. Right. Yeah. You gotta be a big boy to carry all that weight as
yeah, man.
far as frame wise. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Well, what are your expectations, man? Is this a year that they can make a real run at the Natty?
I think so, man, because the defense is going to be what it is. The more, the more balanced we are as a squad, because like a BV team is always going to be led by the defense, but like what
Sure.
complements a good defense is running the ball, keeping the defense fresh, good special teams. So like we can, uh, with Sategna back there, we're going to still be able to get some good returns if we can return some kickoffs. But I think we'll
Yeah.
be. I see another 10 wins. I mean, it's going to be hard to like go undefeated, like being realistic. You know what I'm saying? But
Especially adding a ninth game
yeah,
in
man.
the
So
SEC, man. That's rough. Rough. What did you think about that? Did you think that was a good idea? I hate it.
I didn't mind. So like my favorite team's the Washington Huskies. So we've been having 9, but so it's like you just got to have
It's
just
not in the SEC though.
no, because you got the Purdue's and Rutgers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
got they got like 6 that are trash. Um, so I mean, it's just I probably wouldn't do any more big games anymore. You know what I'm saying? Uh, like it's great going to Michigan, but like I don't know if I'm scheduling. I'm not scheduling just FCS all the time, but like if you want to play, we still have to have a P4. I'll play Minnesota. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Somebody like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, or and sticking with or like it'd be
Baylor.
good if they get the maybe the Oklahoma State game back or something like
That would
that,
be perfect. That would be
Yeah.
perfect because you could start off the season with, you had something to look for because it's still a
Yeah.
rivalry, and then you just have, some lower level ones for the second and third game. Get ready for the SEC.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It surprised me that they did it before they went to the 16 game playoff or whatever it is that they're trying to do that they would have gone to a 9 game schedule or whatever. Like
Yeah,
it's just wild to me. Just wild
yeah,
to me.
yeah. Because they didn't have to because the teams were good enough. The SEC had enough good teams where you didn't have to add that game. But whatever.
No, they already have the toughest strength of schedule.
Yeah,
Already.
yeah,
Even the bad strength of schedules were higher up than the rest of the country.
yeah,
The quote unquote bad strength of schedules in the SEC, like even like Mizzou and what Texas had, for the first couple of years, they didn't have the toughest SEC schedule even, but they were still tougher than the rest of the country for the most part.
yeah, yeah. Because in the Big Ten, you really only have you may play 2 good teams. And if you're one of them, you probably any given year play maybe Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan when they're good, Penn State when they're good, and
Yeah.
then Indiana came out of nowhere. So you're not always going to play all 5 of them. You're never going to do it.
No, no, no. They've got it. Well, look at SC. They're just now having to. This is going to be the first year that they play Ohio State,
Yeah,
and I think. Do they even have Oregon? They do have Oregon. This is the second time they've had to play Oregon, but they kind of swapped that out, and they're not playing. I think it's you expect Penn State. Penn State would have been one of the better teams, and
yeah,
they may still be. They may get back to being pretty good with Matt. I think he's a good coach,
yeah. They'll be fine.
but they lost a lot, so it may take a year or two for them to get back to what you would expect out of Penn State. But it seems like them and UCLA, they've kind of been able to only get some of those, and you get a lot more of the Marylands and the Rutgers of the
Yeah,
world in those schedules than they were. It seemed like Washington and Oregon got the tougher go of it
yeah.
for the
Because I
first
think
couple of
Washington
years.
played.
And
They played Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, USC. So they got they got most of the good ones.
They did. They did. Yeah. But I really like that coach though, man. I think he's going to keep him. He's going to get him there pretty soon.
Yeah.
At UW. I think it's a good place. It's a good place, and he's a good coach, man. He's always been good.
Yeah.
But yeah. So let's see. What else are we looking at here? Owen Heineke. So what did you keep up with the obviously the hearing the other day for the deal? What were your thoughts about that? Should he have even had to have gone to court over that stuff? Crazy.
I mean, he had to, just because there's no real structure and no consistency on what's going on with the NCAA. You know what I'm saying? Case A could be similar. Case B and C could be similar. You got 3 different outcomes. You know what I mean? So he had to do it. I'm glad that he didn't just, say chalk it out, go to the NFL, because it will help him to get more snaps. You know what I'm saying? Like, they usually like 1,000, 2 years of starting, they're like 1,000 snaps, something like that. And he just did. So it's good.
To me, it was so. I think it was something, and I was talking about this to Bishop Frank last night, but something that nobody really brought up, and none of the other guys that were there, because I went to the hearing, but something that nobody really brought it up was that they talked about that the NCAA, one of their committees they have a committee on something to do with eligibility, and they had decided amongst the committee to just automatically say no to any waivers over the last couple of years, I guess. And so one of the things that they didn't look at his original thing, and they clearly didn't, because they were saying that he didn't submit any paperwork about his injury or whatever that they were asking for. That was a lie. There was 171 pages of the injury stuff that was coming with it. And then the talk about, expectations with, that he chose lacrosse over football. One of the things that I thought, and I think that this is something that more people should be really looking at, and it's easy to sit there and just say, oh, well, the case was in Oklahoma. Of course he got a favorable ruling. No, the fact of the matter is, kids that, we talk about the COVID kids, the athletes, they got that extra year that it didn't count or whatever because of COVID, right? But what people don't realize is that didn't apply to the high school kids coming in that were getting recruited, and it burned a lot of those guys. Being one of them. His coach was talking about it. He was talking about it that Duke was really high on him for a while, but they cooled and said, look, without seeing him, we can't give him the scholarship. We can't have him come out.
No, it's absolutely true. Because, I deal with, personal training and stuff like that. So, a lot of basketball guys that I work with, football guys, it was the same boat. You know what I mean? So they ended up going to like the smaller schools, and then were able to like move up once they played. But a lot of those D1 opportunities just didn't come.
No, they didn't. And that's the hard part. There was one of my best friends from high school, his son, same year that he came out, 21. And, he had 20 touchdowns in Texas 6A football down in San Antonio as a receiver, 1,300 yards. He had a 20-catch game. He's 6'3", ran, 4'6", 4'5", 4'6". He could have played tight end or receiver. Yeah. He didn't get recruited. Did not get recruited.
Yeah.
And it was so, he's had to go the JUCO route and kind of some of that other stuff. It's been tough on him. And I just think that Owen Heineke's the kind of guy that you should want, and for that matter, Trinidad Chambliss too. All the talk about Trinidad Chambliss too. People that don't want him to play is because you're going to have to go up against him. I get it.
Yeah.
Facts are the kid deserved to be able to have the opportunity to play another year. It was a 6th year, and he had all same thing. I was also at that hearing. They had plenty of supporting paperwork for his being sick, and it was a real sickness,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and I mean, I'm not an Ole Miss fan, you know what I mean, by any stretch, but I think that it's wrong that they're not looking at the guys that were affected negatively coming in to college sports, to
Yeah.
act like, he just chose to play a different sport whenever he wanted to play football. He just didn't have the same opportunities to play football.
Yeah. No, I was fine with Chambliss too. I just anything past 6 years, you got to chalk it up, buddy. That's the only thing. Like for me, is like
Sure, sure. No, and I agree with that part.
you can be a student as long as you want, but it's like college sports is college sports. Like you got to cut it off at some point, where it's like it just didn't work out. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, and that's the hard part about how many of these guys you're getting 7, 8, 9 years. And,
Yeah.
they're giving Owen a hard time about a fifth year with a fourth year to play. And then Trinidad was going for it was year 6, but he didn't. I mean, he lost an entire season to, having that chronic illness.
Yeah. No, this was legit. I was cool. I was fine with that.
Yeah. I just think it's crazy. And as far as I think as Pharrell was saying that he's expecting that it's not over with. Look, they can appeal it if they want to. At the end of the day, I would tell you this: they have nothing. They literally everything that the NCAA was saying in there was easily proven wrong by the attorneys for Owen, easily. Yeah. I mean, they had no argument, and the fact that there was a girl that went from playing volleyball to basketball. Had basically the exact same story as Owen Heineke when it all came down to it, and they rubber stamped her and let her play. She's already been through it, and not only that, but they tried to hide it from the rest of the country. That tells you that this is not being done. The NCAA is not. They're not acting in good faith with any of this stuff, and their lack of consistency is another part of it. Good luck with that.
Yeah. No,
I
when
think
they were in there talking about, taking someone's playing time, I was like, okay, let's just end this here.
Oh, come on. Yeah, give me a
come
break.
on, man.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with
one
law.
guy that said
Nothing to do with law.
Yeah, I bet number 7 in that linebacker thing would wish he was number 6 then if he rotates 6 guys or whatever, because that's what BV had said, that they rotated 6 anyway.
Yeah,
like, bro, come on, man. You're reaching here.
Yeah, it's like they just got the case last week.
Well, and that's the thing. If you're really gonna sit there and say you care about players that are coming into the college sports out of high school, then you should care about Owen Heineke because he got screwed out of it because of COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're talking out of both sides of your mouth.
Yeah, the NCAA should just let this one go.
Yeah. They get less and less useful all the time at the NCAA.
Yeah.
Less and less useful. It's just wild. KSU just had a former JUCO kid play his 6th season last fall. It happens. It happens, Emilio. It definitely does.
There was a Duke basketball player a long time ago that played 4 years at Duke and then went and played football for 1 year. I forget his name, but I was trying to think so bad on who it was, but it was a while ago. But I absolutely
remind me again. What say that again? I was just reading.
That played 4 years at Duke and then grad transferred to play football for 1 year somewhere. To play quarterback. I forget his name though.
Oh.
He was good at Duke, but he wasn't an NBA guy.
And I'm trying to remember. Neelio, I bet you know who he's talking about.
I couldn't think of his name. As soon as somebody would say it, I recognize it. But yeah. I mean, there was no injuries or anything like that, but he still played 4 years of one sport, and then played a 5th year of another one, and that was after the 4 years of one sport. Not like he played one and then went to go play 4. So.
Yeah. I don't know. It's again, there's no rhyme or reason to any of the decisions that they make, and it could be, like I said, they literally, she showed right in there in the courtroom, the girl in her circumstances, it was a graphic on one side and then it was Owens on the other. The only differences were the sports they play.
Yeah,
that's it. And so, I mean, they pushed it right along, and some of the stuff that, it wasn't something that was supposed to go through really according to what their bylaws and all that kind of stuff was. And yet they pushed it through and they made exceptions for her, but they didn't want to do the same thing for Owen.
Yeah.
Greg Powers.
Yeah,
That's what you're talking
I was gonna
about.
say Polinsky or something like
I
that. But that's
forgot about that guy. Yeah, dude. Good.
Yeah, he absolutely went and
Greg
played.
Paulus. I remember him, dude. I remember that guy. Yeah. Huh. Oh, Krusty, you in here just talking? It isn't about money. Do you know how much money he didn't? What are you talking about? These guys ain't getting paid as much as everybody seems to think. Greg Paulus, that's a good call. Good call, Ryan. Good job. Yeah, you're talking about, okay, so the Oklahoma Supreme Court may do what the Mississippi State Court didn't, which was refuse to hear the case. Why would they, though? Because at the end of the day, what do you have? What are they? You would have to have something that actually fits. I mean, you have to have a reason to appeal that decision.
Yeah. Or have new information.
And so what reason would he have to appeal it? Because nothing that they didn't bring any proof to the party, which is the same thing that happened in Mississippi. They didn't bring any proof they didn't bring anybody to put on the stand. That's their fault.
Yeah.
They didn't bring any extenuating circumstance or evidence that was their smoking gun for their reason to not do it. And they were shown that they weren't acting in good faith in the same and with consistency. That's exactly what was ruled on. Why would the big court, even if they did hear it, what is there to overturn?
Yeah, there's nothing. Absolutely nothing. This one should be a done deal. Welcome
Yeah,
back.
I think it is. And I mean, to be honest with you, I'd be more surprised the NCAA doesn't drop the case altogether.
Yeah, that's what they should do.
Because they're just, I mean, it's just going to continue costing them money. And it's a losing battle. This one is a losing battle as much as the Trinidad Chambliss one was, at least.
Mm-hmm.
At least, guys. We're talking about a fifth year to play a fourth year of the same sport. And he's a walk-on who struggled to get an opportunity in the first place. We got Coach Smoot coming in. Let me set this up real quick. But yeah, pretty wild, man. It just surprises me that continue to have the NCAA just more and more and more is useless.
Yeah, man. They need to, like, I'd be fine with the 5 for 5, but they have to have something that, okay, and this year this kicks in, and that's how it is going forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Starting 2027 or something, so everybody knows what's going on, and it's just in there from there.
Yep. Welcome into the show from our boy Coach Smoot from the Coach Smoot Network. Hey man, how's it going, bro?
What's going on, man? Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay.
Got you, man.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, this is Reggie Powers Pops. Reggie's the second. Reggie, our incoming starting cheetah this year.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the name, man. Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you. What's going on, Jay?
What's up, man? We were just talking about the Owen Heineke deal. We were going over the spring game a little while ago and kind of what they look like or whatever. And I wanted you to come in and tell us about what's going to happen with the quarterback deal at Alabama.
Bruh, I've been telling you. I've been telling them, and it took them, what that was, April 11th last weekend or whatever the A-Day game was. Took them getting a free entry pass to go and see it. I've been telling them.
He looked really good, man. I was there too. So dude, Keelan Russell is legit.
I'm telling you.
Looked like the guy to me.
But you know who else? I know you asked about Alabama. I love to talk about the SEC, just in general. But Alex Golesh and his boy, what's his name? Bynum?
Yeah.
Byron Brown.
Byron Brown.
They got something brewing over there, man. I seen
you a little worried about Auburn now?
I ain't gonna say I'm worried, but Auburn can make a push this year. Auburn looks like they offense, because we know they're gonna bring a defense. DJ Durkin, they gonna bring a solid defense.
Yeah.
But that offense, if Golesh can get a bead on where he fits as far as play calling, style of play calling in the SEC. And I think he's going to kind of stem off of what Clark Lee did with Diego that first season when Vanderbilt started kind of making noise. I think he'll kind of stem off of that play calling style, just over aggressive on everything, dialing it up on everything, keeping the quarterback the center of your offense and allowing those young stars to really like kind of expose themselves or kind of highlight themselves in those small moments, but put it around that veteran quarterback because Brown been in it. He took Bama under Saban for 4 quarters. So
yeah, no, I remember that game. He looks pretty. And then look at what they did. They beat up on Florida last year.
I mean, in
the Swamp,
and they got money for him. Your boy down there in Auburn, they got money for him. So this would be a statement year for him. And all he expected to do is get to 8 or 9 wins, and that's gonna be enough for them to be fully behind him. But yeah, that's gonna be crazy. But yeah, that quarterback position in the SEC it's gonna be a big thing this year. We got a lot of big dogs in the QB thing.
Yeah, a lot of expectations for. I mean, you got Arch Manning making his second year as a starter. You got Gunnar Stockton doing the same thing. I think it's a question on what's going to happen at Tennessee with their. They don't have any it's coming in really. At the quarterback position. Now, Josh seems to get it done with his guys no matter what. I mean, that's one thing he does a good job with. And if their defense is better, they should be fine, I would think.
Yeah, I think they're the only team that's really everybody's kind of waiting to see because they got so much talent at the wide receiver position.
They do. And their running back is coming back, and he was looking really good last year too, right?
Yeah, he was good.
But if you and Big Reg, how do you look at the SEC this year as far as like the pecking order? Where's it? Obviously, I think it's got to start with Georgia. They're back-to-back champs, and they've got a lot of guys coming back, and they're getting. They were young last year and still looked really good. But do you think LSU makes an immediate push?
I don't know, man. That's a lot of changes, man. I mean, they poured a lot of money into it, but like.
They did.
Man. they not winning the chip. So, I mean, Georgia, I think like the top 4 or 5 be Georgia, us, Bama, Texas, and I'm not sure Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M going to take a step back, and then we'll see who else is going to pop up. There's some people that it's not quite clear what they're going to do. There's a lot of new coaches, a lot of new quarterbacks. So, like, you never know that first year how a quarterback's going to react.
Yeah, the more you hear about Florida, one of the ones I look at is that Florida wide receiver room is filthy.
Oh yeah, they're nice.
And that defense being what it is, if they get the trigger man right, they might be a problem, man. They might be a problem.
Yeah. Because did they keep the same coordinator, D coordinator?
They did.
Oh, okay.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. But they kept a lot of the guys, though.
Yeah,
they kept a lot of the players, man. They got, especially their best players.
Yeah.
They're really good up front. So I don't know, man. I think, but I just like John Summerall too, man. I think that dude he's legit. He's the right temperament for a Florida coach. It feels like, don't you think? What do you think about that, Smoot?
For this era of Florida era, fans, because I think they're quieting down from the previous national champ talks and all that stuff. The fans are kind of settled again, So he's like the perfect settling of the storm type of coach. I mean, if anything, culture-wise, I think he makes an impact. But like you said, wide receiver room, I just had to go back and look because they got guys that sit in like redshirt freshman Ciangoli. I remember seeing that kid at a camp like 2 years ago, and he was, I think, a 3-star maybe coming out of high school.
But he's legit.
It could have easily been a 4-star, 5-star type talent. So they got dudes.
Well, Dallas Wilson is a stud, dude, man, straight up. And then Oh yeah, and then they bring in Kevin Singleton. You know,
Yeah, Jaden Ball.
Eric Singleton.
Eric
Yeah,
Singleton.
From
Eric
Auburn.
Singleton. Yeah. From Auburn. Yeah, and he was at Georgia Tech the year before that. So, I mean,
Dang,
dude,
man.
they were already good
And
before they
then
got these guys.
and then the boy, the freshman Hayes Kent, he made some noise in the spring game too. I remember when Bama was on him heavy. I knew
Yeah.
it was either Kent or Max Sutter in this last class, and he's going to be a dog. He's going to be like the second coming. Not necessarily playing style, but the type of attention he demands. Who was the tight end prospect they had came out first round NFL guy?
Oh,
for the Falcons.
Yeah, what's his name?
oh,
I see his face. I'm drawing a blank.
Me too. You couldn't guard him.
Man.
You couldn't guard him when he was in college. You couldn't guard him. Oh my God!
no,
I
he
can't.
was unbelievable. Yeah,
I
yeah.
completely draw a blank, man.
But he's the second coming of that guy. I'm about to find it. I'm about to look up the Falcons roster right now.
Yeah, why are we thinking? Why am I forgetting that dude's name? He was a stud.
Because I almost want to say Pickens, but it's not
No.
George Pickens. It's
Mm-mm.
but it was a freak of nature type of athlete like
Yeah.
that. Let me see what's his name. Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, you
Kyle
go.
Pitts. There you go. There you go. Yep.
That's what I see from Hayes Kent. Can stretch the field vertically, but he's just a tough guard, man. You can't man up on us. So Florida, like you said, got a lot of talent.
I think it's going to depend on who they end up with the quarterback, though, because everybody just assumed it was going to be Philo, but it doesn't sound like it's over with. And as far as that goes, and in fact, it didn't sound like Philo was the best player in the spring game at all.
And they like the red shirt freshman too.
Yeah.
Tramel Jones.
Tramel Jones. The high top guys. We love the high top guys. They've been talking about it a lot. They love Tramel Jones.
Yeah,
And so
I think my assessment on him was just the natural quarterback mechanics. He's a natural athlete, playmaker. I think he's going to be able to settle in this system.
right.
But last year, based off what they were demanding from him, it was going to be like a 2-year development process for him. I think he's going to be straight, man. I think he's going to be straight. But overall, SEC, like Coach Powers was saying, like I said, Georgia's right up there. I really think people are sleeping on Bama. Like for whatever reason, I know big names left in the portal, but go do y'all research on what we got out of the portal. And Jason, you was there at the spring game. That D line, I think that was the biggest.
It looked good. Yeah, they looked good. And I guess my thing I want to see what their offensive line is more than anything.
Yeah,
And what they do in the run game. Because kind of like what we talked about with Oklahoma, the run game's got to be better.
it's got to be.
Just to make it easier on your quarterback, whoever it may be, it's got to be better, right? And I think that that's the question I think people have about Bama. But if you're questioning whether they're still going to be one of the better teams in the league, I think you're wild.
Yeah. I mean, I think Kalen DeBoer is a good coach overall. I think you could have put him just about anywhere, like the top 2 tiers of the SEC as a head coach, and he would be in a similar position right now, 9-10 wins.
Yeah, Big Reggie's a Washington guy, man. He loves him. I know he likes
Yeah,
him.
Yeah,
I was so happy when we beat y'all, man. The first 2 times, I was like, good, because y'all took the center. My dude, who's the wide receiver? Bernard. I was like, dang,
Yeah, Jeremy Bernard.
could have been
Yeah.
good if them guys stayed.
Yeah.
My Huskies got gutted. But Jason, speaking of earlier, talking about the offensive line for Bama, that was one thing I noticed last year. There's a lot of bellies out there. I had mentioned earlier about like once you get over like a certain weight, it's no longer beneficial for linemen. You know what I'm saying? Because you lose some of that movement, you soon lose some of your
Yeah.
athleticism. Because I know what's the tackle's name? He had to lose some weight almost during the season. The big boy
Oh yeah.
for Bama.
Caden Proctor.
Yeah, Proctor.
Yeah,
Yeah. He was huge early on,
Yeah.
and he
Right.
had to drop some weight.
even now, I think his draft weight, entry weight, he's right at 330. He at Bama, he had never been at
And he's what, 6'8", 6'8" or
6'7",
something like that.
6'7".
Yeah.
And I mean, a 6'7" dude could carry 350, 355, but 330, you super athletic already at 360. You know what I'm saying? So just imagine what
Mhm.
you're doing at 3:30. You know, you get that specialized training, all this development training and core, active,
Yeah.
reactive, flexor training, is what they call them, the twitch muscle training, all this stuff. The big guys
Yeah.
doing that stuff now because you got to be
Yeah.
able to move. Everything's in
Yeah.
space now. So, and that's going to be the biggest thing, I think. If Oklahoma doesn't hurry up and transform the anatomy of their offensive line, they'll take another step back. Alabama did it, like we went in the portal and did it this season. Go look at our offensive line. You got Nick Brooks
Yeah,
came
they're
in
young and they've got
7.
They're there now. They're there now. It's just I think it's a matter of depth is what you're looking at
Yeah,
OU right now. But I mean, from what we saw in the spring game, they're changed what they're doing. A lot of 12 personnel. They added a bunch of big tight ends that are able to move and get out on the edge and block. That was huge, I think, for OU, and I think that's what you got to do. Like we were saying with Alabama, you got to run the ball to make it easier on Mateer. Got to do it.
and another thing, you got to do is get back to utilizing the tight ends. Y'all had three solid tight ends on the roster last year. Middle of the field was not being.
Blocking wise, it wasn't
You
solid.
don't think so? The
No,
way them guys looked at the highlights I'm seeing from this spring,
no,
they
no.
look good.
Now,
Oh no, yeah. Now they weren't on the
now the
roster.
guys
last
that they added now, yes, they went
year.
Hayden
Yeah, they
Hansen,
weren't on the roster.
Rocky Beers, and
I
the guy
love
from
Hanson.
Tennessee.
I
No, we're
love
talking
Hanson.
about last year. I thought you were talking about last year's guys.
Oh,
Yeah,
nah,
yeah,
nah.
yeah.
Nah,
No,
Connect last year didn't get a lot of opportunities either. I think from
he
what
didn't get
was
enough. He didn't get enough,
exactly.
but he wasn't able to make blocks. He's coming over from being a linebacker, had never played tight end before. You know what I
That
mean?
was last
And
year. I thought he'd been tight end for like 2 years now.
No, he's gone.
This his second year.
No, he's gone.
oh, he's gone
He was-
now.
he was
Now
a
they
senior.
everybody pretty much they brought in
Hey,
from the.
I thought y'all was
They
at
went
least
and got
bringing him
Hayden
back
Hansen from
because he was
Florida.
making
He's
some growth, man.
so yeah, they
He's-
went and got
he's
Hayden
also
Hansen for
target-
40, 6'8", 260.
I love it.
Rocky Beers is like 6'6", 245, 250, and then they got the kid from
Van
what's the
Dorsler.
kid's name from Tennessee again?
Van Dorsler.
Yeah, Van Dorsler. Yeah. So he was a true freshman, but another big kid, another 6'6", 6'7" guy. So they have the ability to do it at this point, and then obviously your offensive line looks quite a bit better
That thing
as
ring
well.
the Texas kid, Van
Who's that?
Dorsey.
No, Tennessee.
He was
No,
a
I'm
freshman
saying
at
high
Tennessee.
school. He came out of Texas though,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
he did.
yeah. South Lake. Played at
Yep.
South Lake.
Carroll. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
Coach Smoot.
Nah,
Coach
I know
Smoot.
these. Now, if these kids getting on the rosters right now, they go in the depth right now. I'm real close to them. That 25, 24 class, those guys. That's when like I really got pulled into the industry. So like seeing a lot of like Travis Smith at Tennessee. I'm telling y'all, Jason, I've been talking about him for about 3
He's a
years
stud,
now.
man. He's a stud.
That dude is about to go crazy. He freshman year, I think you have a better quarterback, you see more of Travis Smith, right? Because that offense should have been way more explosive than it was. But this year, him, Mikey Matthews, and then I think who was the guy they got in the slot? They got a trio, man, and they got about 7. They got 7.
I want to know what you think about LSU, though. Do you think they're going to make that move right now, or do you think they're a year away too?
I think it's.
Or do they do it at all? Is Lane Kiffin Lane whiffing, or is he going to get it done there?
Whiffing. I really do, bro. I'm jumping on that because Kiffin has yet to show us like he could take anything serious, man. You had a national championship contending Ole Miss roster. Like your roster was playing some quality ball last season.
Yeah.
And you got into some like Twitter like high school drama because somebody didn't want to take a meeting with you at the time. You wanted to take a meeting because another offer. You get offers all year. Like what made it so pressing for this time? You got the playoffs to be worried about. You did the same thing when you was under Saban, started giving attention elsewhere, and we in the freaking playoffs, getting ready for the national championship. So I can't take Lane Kiffin serious, and until I see him, choose the.
They loaded up with talent, though. They definitely loaded up with talent. Yeah. Now let me ask you this: does Pete Golding continue? I mean, obviously they got Trinidad Chambliss coming back. Where does Ole Miss fit in this year? And both of you guys, that's a question for both of y'all. What do they do?
To me, I mean, their offense was and Chambliss in Lane's offense, I think that's going to take a step back. Defense I think will still be good, but I don't think they're going to be.
Well, the defense should be better, I would think, because they had to load up there, but they didn't lose. They got their running back as well. They brought in a kid from FCS that had like 1,800 yards last year and 30 touchdowns as to be the backup running back. And then the new coordinator worked with Lane when Levy was there. So I don't know. I kind of feel like they take a step back because their schedule is ridiculous. Like last year, they also had a nice little. They had a lighter schedule as far as the SEC was concerned. They didn't play all the best teams.
And they got an issue at right tackle right now too. They got an issue at right tackle. They don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if y'all follow Josie Pittman on Twitter, but she's really connected to Ole Miss, and I forget my other lady's friend. I forget her friend's name, but she posted something about the offensive line looking good and like on the interior, but their tackles having struggles. And we know the SEC right now, the edge rush talent in the SEC, man. I think you might have 6 or 7 first rounders in the SEC alone off the edge.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, fact of the matter is that they're definitely playing a tougher schedule. They could be good and still be an 8-win team, I think.
Yeah. And you listen to a lot of the politics around the playoff committee. Like, if you're an 8-win team, you're ranked number 18 in the nation because your 4 losses are to a number 10 and number 6.
They're not getting in with 8. You might get a 9-win team in, might. And I say might.
I'm talking about just resume, like how it measures up. Ole Miss will get their respect because they might see like 7 or 8 ranked teams this season. Like, for real. You're talking about a nine conference game schedule. Last year in the SEC, we had 8 teams ranked in week 4 in the top 25.
Right. And adding that 9th conference game is tough, right? It's tough.
Well, not just the 9th conference game, but how now you play every team every other year. Like, there's no, like, the first 2 years when the schedules were set, like, they based it off previous record. So, like, some people got all the bones. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
they
now that it's more spread out now, no one's going to have an easy schedule anymore. I mean, it might end up that somebody might supposed to be good, might have injuries or something like that. Like, that can happen. But, like, when you just look at the schedule, there's not 4 cream puffs on there.
And that's why I love. I love the fact that you see the SEC schools doing just like the Big Tens and going ahead and get that one starter up out the way, and then we got to get to the conference because I think teams like Georgia, Bama. What I tell you this, Oklahoma and Texas got punished their first 2 years. I say Oklahoma more so than Texas. Texas got punished this last year though. They SEC whoever do schedules, they got them back this year. Even with Florida, that Florida-Texas game, a lot of people underestimated that matchup, and I told people Florida just need something culturally.
We were calling that win before the season ever started yet, because it's such a tough place to go play. Oklahoma has to go play there this year. It's a concern. It should be a concern.
And this is a year that I feel like teams like Florida and Texas, who kind of been like, it's been like these over hyped up expectations, right, for them the first couple years. I think they're kind of settling. Texas is settling. Archie, I feel like he gonna settle this year, and everything that he couldn't do because of them extra pressures, I think that shows up. Do they have enough around him this year? Is yet to be seen. But I think he takes a step up and kind of solidifies his draft stock. I'm glad he didn't come out.
Yeah.
Who's that? Who are you talking about? Arch?
Yeah.
Arch,
Your boy.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, they got him Cam Coleman and added to that. I think it's a matter of what is their offensive line going to look like at Texas.
That's why I said around, because we know it got.
Because it wasn't good last year. It was not good. And so, but Arch looked a lot better at the end of the year than he did at the start.
Absolutely.
A lot better.
The speed of the game, it's already sped up. because you're at the collegiate level and you're in the SEC. But then when you have a struggling offensive line, your defense can't help you much.
The running game was non-existent, just like the problems that Oklahoma and Alabama had were the same issues that they were having at Texas.
The SEC had a run game problem. Let's be honest. The SEC, if you look across the SEC, most of your explosive run games happen with mobile quarterbacks, people that use their quarterbacks in the run game. Who can you look in the SEC and say? I mean, Ole Miss had a solid run game.
They were really good in the run game, and look. They ran out of time or they might have been in the national championship game.
Georgia had
a nice running game as well. Yeah.
Missouri, that's what they do.
And Mizzou, yeah, but Mizzou didn't have anything to go with that. They were one dimensional in that regard.
Yeah,
you know. What do you think that now that they've got a tougher schedule than they've had in the last few years too? I like Austin Simmons, but and I mean you got to love their run game. But I don't know that Mizzou takes a step forward this year with that. I just don't know that they do.
I see them back around 8, 9. I mean, I think the SEC gonna be spread out. I don't as good as I feel about what I saw at Bama. I still think there's possibly 2 losses on that schedule, and 4 or 5 close games, right, on our schedule. And I feel like our schedule is one of the lighter ones of the conference this year for the first time in probably like 6 or 7 seasons, probably since Tua was there. That's like we haven't had the toughest of schedules. Last year was crazy rough. 7 straight ranked conference opponents. You don't get that year in and year out. That's tough.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Oklahoma played a bunch too. It was all day long. Every team you play, pretty much. And again, this is the league that you're not going to sidestep it. You're just not going to at the end of the day. But who's your top 5 then, or who makes the playoffs out of the SEC this year, Smoot, for you?
Got Georgia. I got Alabama. I made a list, bro, while I'm over here trying to guess it now. I had Georgia, Alabama. I had Texas. I like Texas to beat Ohio State early in the season to give them that little like cushion to whatever late season losses they get. They get that to cushion them. I think Ohio State is one of the better teams in the country, though.
Oh yeah, there definitely are.
Yeah, I think they figure it out quick.
And I'm up in Ohio. Chris Henry, he's the truth.
Believe me, I got clips from the sidelines.
And adding that with Jeremiah Smith too, man. That's not fair.
But then they got a freshman number 11. I can't remember his name. I'm talking about y'all. Jason, you know how I get that. I got clips. These boys, like the way they work off the line of scrimmage, their releases is lethal.
Yeah,
lethal. Like they're gonna have to. It won't be many secondaries that can match up with them. It's gonna be a lot of zone. They're gonna be eating up a lot of zones. People gonna learn early. You just don't have to get over top. Huh?
Ennis is still there.
Facts. And now he don't have to worry about being a real receiver no more.
Nope. Be in the slot and get money.
Yep, that's it. And and that's no dig on his game. He's not, to me, he's never been a true receiver. He's not a true receiver option. Receiver 1-2 option. No.
Outside receiver option is what you said. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah. So
they're so talented at that. But I was hoping that when old boy left that maybe that would leave with him, but
okay, I had Bama, Georgia, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I had LSU coming, and I think LSU wins 8, and I have OU 8 or 9 right there. I have them in the top 5 and getting into the playoffs.
You think you get 4 in? Do you think you get 4 in this year?
I think they still a year away. I think they're better this year. And they see what they were seeing towards.
No, but I mean, do you get 4 teams into the playoff for the SEC?
4. I thought you said Florida. How many we had last year?
We got 5 last year.
I don't think we take a step back. Especially with
I think it makes it tough. I don't know that you end up with as many 10-win teams. In fact, I don't know that you end up with any 10-win teams.
We got to do a show where we bring up all the schedules and start mapping them out like we did last year. Because I think A&M busted us, though.
If there were, let's assume there were 4. Who's your 4 teams to get in from the SEC?
Georgia, Bama.
I was asking Powers. I already heard you.
Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas, if they can beat Ohio State. And
that's a tough ask, even at home.
I know, but like if they
they are loaded.
Lose 2 in the SEC, so it'll be the same thing as last year if they lose to them again. I'm not sure on my 4th, man, because I don't think Texas A&M, LSU.
I don't believe in Texas A&M at all.
Yeah,
I don't believe in A&M at all. I think Marcel is a liability for them, and they're changing.
This year. We've seen this episode. We've seen Johnny Manziel do it to the SEC. We saw Diego do it to the SEC. Just the last 2. Like nobody was talking about Diego after the revisit to Bama. Nobody was talking about him. He rolled that hype from
that. They did win 10 games though. They did win 10 games, but they had a lighter SEC schedule too.
A&M did too though. A&M didn't play a lot of good teams. The 2 teams they played that were good, they lost to.
They got beat. That's right. Yeah, they won another Dame game, and they kind of lucked out. They lucked into that one.
Why did they lose though? It wasn't because their defense was trash. They couldn't score. Turnovers. Right. Diego and Marcel turnovers. Marcel wasn't he like leading the country with turnover?
South Carolina had them 30-3 at the half. Remember that was the week that Oklahoma played in Bama, and we're looking up. Remember we're looking at it. Coach Smoot, me and you were sitting there going,
and we look at the jumbotron thing,
what the hell? and this because he had thrown 3 interceptions in the first half. Turn around and they end up losing 31. I mean, they win 31-30, but we know South Carolina was awful.
Come on,
but
man.
I mean, good grief, they all but beat the crowd, and that was at Texas A&M. It was in College Station, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I didn't buy them. I wasn't buying them anyway.
In that stadium, your service is trash. So we sitting there. I'm trying to refresh ESPN. I'm thinking like, man, they gotta have a graphic wrong up there. They got.
We thought it was messed up. Just like that can't be right,
man. It was. Yeah. Everybody in our section.
Well, and look at. I mean, it wasn't close with Texas. Texas beat the hell out of them, and then Miami. I mean, it was at home, and Miami found a way to win, and it was a close game. I mean, it was a close game. But if you're buying Texas A&M, I got problems. You got problems, man, because they just always the way they are. And I like Mike Elko. I think he's a good coach. I just don't think that they, offensively speaking, they're in trouble there, and I just don't see it, man. I like
Elko too. He recruited Reg when he was at Duke. Yeah. So guys, you talk to him. He's solid dude.
Oh, dude, they play great defense, but the fact is and he didn't even go out and get a better. They're already their offensive coordinator. I mean, I like the Colin Klein, great coordinator. Yeah, smart move for K-State to go back and get him.
Yeah,
but when you don't even go out there and get a guy that's known, that already has a lot of experience in the SEC as a coordinator, and you just promote from within. I thought that was a bad move on his part.
Man,
you gotta find some offense, man. And
the SEC gonna be so spread out though. You gotta think out of contrast of styles we're gonna see offensively this year, or expect to see this year, with Ryan Grubb coming into his second year, Drinkwitz and Missouri, what they bring it to the table, trying to be more vertical. Georgia, man, I think Georgia's going to let Gunnar Stockton take the helm for real, like they did with the mailman. What's his name? Stetson Bennett.
Stetson Bennett.
Yeah,
the mailman.
Mailman. Like, bro, that second season, he was looking like a first-round draft pick the first 8 weeks. And then, like, he ran into his competition towards the last part. But, like, it was 2 national championships, man. Gunnar looks good. Georgia looks good, too. They got
they were young, man. They were young on both sides of the ball, and they got better all year long. But that's the thing is, think about that though. They needed 43 when they beat Ole Miss at home. So I'm not sure I'm ready to write Ole Miss off, but I think, and that's the reason that I think that if they don't find a way to get in the playoff, I think that it's going to be Pete's liable to get slippery there for him right away if they don't get to the playoff. With the money that they spent and getting to keep Trinidad, it's a tough deal for Pete if he doesn't get back in there.
And they can't let LSU smoke them either.
Right, and that's week 3? Week 3 they play? Yeah.
Come in there. Yo,
you cannot lose that game. If they lose that game, they're liable to run his ass out of town right then.
Man, what? Hey, you know how to get down in Mississippi.
That might have game. Get rowdy. They liable to. I can't imagine the shit that's going to go on in that. Did you see what's been going on even in the baseball games and stuff?
Yeah, it get nasty. It get nasty. Yeah, week 3. That's gonna be crazy.
That's a wild game, man. I love to be at that game.
That's a crazy good week of games because we got Florida State that week, Auburn and Florida. Then you got Ole Miss, LSU. That's gonna be a good weekend.
Dude, that place is liable to explode.
They gonna go crazy. That's got to be the 7 p.m. game. That's got to be your late kick.
Oh, no doubt. There's no doubt about it.
Even if it ends up being a blowout, either way, just the narratives around it. LSU.
Man, do they let? Is Lane safe?
Does he get an escort this game? Like,
they have some goons with him, man.
Yeah, they better have him surrounded by dudes. Man.
Yeah, you better hit them streets in Baton Rouge, but get outside.
Yeah.
They say Kevin for the people, so he might be straight. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. They hate him there right now. I've been in Mississippi for like a month and a half, so let me tell you.
I'm talking about LSU.
They're not happy with that. I'm not there now, but yeah. Crazy. Yeah, that's going to be crazy. So, did you give me a fourth? You said Oklahoma, Georgia.
Bama.
Okay, Bama. Okay. So, and who was the other one? Oklahoma, Georgia, Bama, Texas.
Texas, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think those would be my 4. I would say that Ole Miss is going to be in there somewhere, and I'm not sure that LSU's not going to be there. I kind of need to see it. I kind of agree with what you guys are saying. I need to see it from Lane because make no mistake, he still ain't done shit.
He really hasn't. Lane, listen.
He still hasn't.
This is my issue.
I mean, and don't get me wrong. Ole Miss, what they were when he got there was not anything special. So he's definitely turned them into what they are. But you still got to win. You still got to win something big. And if you can't do it with the amount of money that they just spent on this roster and the guys that they went and got, when are you going to do it?
Yeah.
When are you gonna do it? I don't know. But it's not like it's easy. It's not like it's easy. That one's gonna be a crazy game. I can't wait for that game too.
And you just look at it, they literally did. Kiffin knew like the 1-year transition deal to fill out your roster and stuff that you can't do that. You can't do that no more. I think that's kind of what set Kalen DeBoer back a year. Right? I think if that first year when he came to Bama, and he would have been like, I got to go get guys that I know fit my system and not work around the guys that chose to stay behind Saban.
Right.
Like, and it was admirable, it was honorable, all that stuff, but you should have went and that as soon as they said, hey, this is the budget, you should have went and got guys. You already had the Bama brand behind you. Like, It wasn't going to be hard. But you kept space and you acknowledged loyalty and it came back to get you. Because that definitely was a year where Bama could have been poised for a playoff push. You're going to get a few more pieces. You're going to actually invest in a QB and push Jalen Milroe. Get it. It was 4 of them in the portal that year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it kind of
losing Julian saying like that. I mean, and he's proven he's legit.
But Julian wasn't about to be in this offensive scheme. I think Julian wasn't going to be able to compete for because even now at Ohio State, if you don't have a Jeremiah Smith, a lot of Julian deep balls don't look good, man. And we see what Grubb and DeBoer need at the quarterback position for Alabama to excel. You got to be able to be consistent on the vertical threat.
Yeah, you got to chuck that rock.
Yeah,
you got to throw
it. And saying not chucking that mug, he underthrew his receivers in the spring game.
Yeah.
Neilio asks, think that cat that took over in Lexington stirred up some shit in year one? Yes. I don't think that they're going to – I think that their schedule's the hardest schedule in the SEC, by the way. Kentucky's is.
Oh, my God.
It's ridiculous. But here's what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to ruin some people's party.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to ruin somebody. I mean, look, I tell you what. Oh, Bama's got a tough one with them in week 2.
Yeah, I think we catch them early enough to not feel that.
What I'm saying is like you never. I mean, if you're not clicking on all cylinders, it could be a tough out with
That's how Florida State got us in week 1 last year. You didn't know what they were showing up to do.
Yeah. And Will Fine, I mean, dude, that guy, he knows how to run an offense. I'll tell you that much. And he loaded up in the portal. They did a good job. I think overall, I mean, you can't expect too much out of them because it's Kentucky. But make no mistake, I would be surprised if they don't ruin somebody's party. And I think the same thing about Mississippi State. Kamario Taylor is the real deal.
He is, man.
He's a big dude.
He is.
6'5", runs a 4.5, and has a rocket. And Levy knows what, I mean, we all know that Jeff knows what he's doing running an offense. It's all about defense at Mississippi State is their problem. It's been their problem. He was doing it with a terrible quarterback as far as I was concerned last year. But for them to go and get Zach to come back, as you know, the guy they fired to bring in Levy, and he was one of the best defensive coordinators before that. Mississippi State might be a pain in everybody's ass.
Like I said, I just
they also have a tough schedule as well. But
Bama catches them early. Bama catches them early enough to, like, before they start even find different nicks and knacks. I feel like we catch them, and that's been a thing for Ohio State for years. They catch some of those teams early in their conference, and they be like, they maul them, but then that same team be.
They get better at the end of the year or whatever.
They be one of the competitors for the conference title. So, but I think, man, Kentucky, they're going to be chippy. The only thing, and I just want to circle back to LSU because I got to get up out of here. I think LSU is Sam Leavitt. I don't think Sam Leavitt is as good as advertised. I think what's going to happen at LSU, they're going to run into a John Mateer problem with Sam Leavitt at quarterback. And behind him...
Well, he's injured coming in. He's not even ready to play.
What do they have behind him? That's the real question. And they
went and got that kid from USC. Also, they got
Houston
Longstreet. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what he is either, but I mean,
like
you got to give Lane the benefit of the doubt as far as developing a quarterback.
Yep, you got Lane. He hit Jalen Hurts for 4 or 5 games.
And then didn't they get the kid from Elon too that everybody was wanting?
Landon.
That's a big kid. He had a big ass arm too. I mean, he may not be ready for the big time.
Landon Clark.
Yep.
Elon.
He's a stud.
Yeah.
Stud.
They got a few, man. But I'm saying, like, SEC, man. Yeah. SEC. This is a year where I think all your SEC defenses that were like decent or like inconsistent last year that ended up being top tier, top 15, top 25. I think a lot of them are bringing. They done went and got a bunch of impact portal pieces. Impact when in day one starters, and then also they got a veteran presence in the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you said
before you get out of here, answer this question for Revenge Tour.
Coach Smoot, if the board doesn't make it deep in the playoffs, is his seat getting hot? Of course, because he's taking steps forward every season since he's been there. You come in, you win 9 games the first year, miss the playoffs by technicality, lose that bowl game, you turn around, you're in the SEC title game, you make the playoffs, second round push, you get revenge on OU in OU, and then now you got another top 10 class, you bring in 2 back-to-back. Yeah, if he don't make the playoffs, it's definitely a hot seat. And if he doesn't make the playoffs, it has to be something catastrophic. You lose Austin Mack and Keelan Russell, and you got true freshman quarterbacks out
Whether
there.
it's fair or not, the expectations are what they are.
It's hot. Yeah, it's hot.
And I gotta hop off too, but off to what you were saying though, he also can't keep losing, even though it may be including bowl game. He can't keep losing 4 games.
True.
That'll be 3. He can't have 3 years of losing 4 games.
Yeah, I get it. It's a different landscape though. We coming out of a landscape where it was set up to where your top 2 teams were supposed to be only one loss teams. Now the spread is different, so you got whole different philosophies and approaches to games. We saw playoff teams starting backup quarterbacks in the middle of the season last year.
You're one of the people that has a brain in your head though, but a lot of the fan base doesn't. We already know that, and that's the same. The same is true at OU and anywhere else that that has any kind of a legacy as to what they've been. Alabama is the cream of the crop. The expectations are what they are. End of story.
Yeah.
And when you just went through 17 years of Nick Saban, win 6 national championships, that's I mean, it's tough on. I think KD is one of the best coaches in the country. I don't know that he's a fit at Alabama, but I think we'll find out. We're gonna find out because
we're gonna get a good look into what his future projections look like this year. I promise you.
Yeah, I think they're loaded with talent, though. I mean, there's no reason why they can't be good.
Yeah.
So, well, guys, I appreciate both of you coming in. Coach Smoot, tell everybody how to find you, man.
Hey, let me fire up Black Raider still real quick.
All right.
Hey, get a profile picture so I can see exactly what you look like. Because I want to give you like a 7-minute segment of this, But go follow me at Coach Smoot on all platforms. That's TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, everything at Coach Smoot. Make sure y'all check out my other YouTube channel. We got at Coach Smoot Reacts. Pop that thing off. It's about to go crazy. We got a lot of funny reactions. But
you got the reactions? You got a reaction channel now?
I've been doing it. I just ain't been posting them. Like, I've been doing it for like a year now.
Okay.
So it's crazy. And then we also, huge announcement, man. I got, I'm part of the SWAC, Credential Media for SWAC, the conference.
Cool.
So I'll be covering Alabama State this year, doing some double coverage, double duty, man. Doing our thing. So, yeah, I appreciate y'all. And, yeah, I did cut my hair. So, if you see me in the streets, holler at me.
Yeah.
Put me in the game, Coach Smoot. I did cut my hair. That is me. Yeah, so.
My guy. Appreciate you coming in, my guy.
Yeah, man.
All right, y'all.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Coach Powers, appreciate you coming in too, man. Looking forward to this season with Reg. And thanks for coming in and spending some time with us today.
No problem, man. Appreciate you, bro.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon. Man, that's a good couple of guys to have come in, man. Good conversation. Appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out with us. Make sure you guys get over there and check out Coach Smoot on the Coach Smoot Network. And I want to see if we can get Coach Powers in here more often and stuff along, throughout the season and stuff. We always enjoy having him on, man. He's a good dude. I was born in the 70s. That Bama shit is hilarious. The Bama shit. It's like, hey, they're wild, man. They're wild over there, just like it is at Oklahoma, man. Look, the expectations are what they are. They're what they are. The standard is the standard. And the expectations are real. And look, it's at this point, we've talked about it plenty. BV may have gotten himself off the hot seat last year, but it doesn't mean he stays off the hot seat if they take a dip. I feel like Oklahoma's going to stay right in the mix and should, but it doesn't take long to get your ass in trouble at Oklahoma or Texas or anywhere else. The expectations are what they are. And but not everybody can win. Not everybody can win. And this league is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Bring Coach back on. Well, we will. We will. Coach Powers? Definitely will. Neilio, good to see you. Benji, Black Raider still. Let's see. Ryan, what up, man? Technically, they lost to Oklahoma. Who did? Levin, Baton Rouge, Swordsby, and Lubbock. Those two are varsity. vastly overrated going into their new digs. Yeah, I don't think much of Sorsby either, and Levitt. I don't know. I think he could be better under. I think you got to give Lane the benefit of the doubt when it comes to what he does with quarterbacks. But at the end of the day, what has Lane done as far as wins and losses? I mean, now he's never had a program quite like this one. Even when he had USC, I mean, you know, you could say USC's whatever, but they were under, you know, probation and all that shit coming after Pete Carroll. So that was, you know, that was tough. I'm just saying I wouldn't expect. We still haven't seen him really win a championship or anything like that of any kind, conference or otherwise, and it's not going to be easy. But they did load him up with talent, and that defense was legit. They could be a problem, man. They could be a problem. And any one of those three quarterbacks might be pretty good. Who's to say? But I'm with you on. I'm still the Texas Tech buy-in is wild to me. What the hell have they done? They get to the playoff and they don't score a point. Come on, man. Bryce Underwood looked awful. He hasn't developed at all, in my opinion. I don't know, man. I would tell you that they're you know, it's new coaching, new system. He's having to learn. Bryce Underwood's legit. The guy's everything that he can do. I wouldn't think. I think it's going to take him a little bit of time, but I think they're going to be good. I think they're probably a year away though. Over there. Mm-hmm. Technicality is why Bama missed the playoffs in 24, apparently per Smoot. Is that what he said? Who said that? When did he say that? Underwood's going to be good, yeah. Underwood's going to be good. Thank you, Scott Walker. Appreciate it. Having a running back like Scadaboo sure made it easier to set up in the pocket. No doubt. No doubt. And also, I think that he already had a hell of a coach. You know? He already had a hell of a coach. So, you know, now that being said, Arizona State, it's not exactly the same as being at LSU as far as talent's concerned, though. So I think they were good. I think they were good, but he's definitely going to have more weapons to throw to, and that offensive line should be pretty good. Running back, I mean, they got to get that running game going there, and I think that's going to be the main thing for LSU as well. They need to run the football, just like a lot of schools that we've been talking about today. So he did. I must have missed it. Oh, that's funny. He missed it on a technicality. Is that what he said? Missed it. That's funny. Yeah, that's what I was saying. When I was laughing at Texas the year that they lost to Oklahoma State with the 17-point lead in the third quarter. That they should have stamped U.S. mail on Bijan's ass and sent him instead of just not giving him the ball, especially with the wind blowing the way it was there. Freaking Quinn's balls were moving 10 yards left to right. It was one of the worst called games I've ever seen. And Sark was awful in that game. Yeah, dude, those Buckeyes receivers are stupid good, man. Stupid good. He says Smook is just happy he doesn't have to play Venable to show the nation how to beat Bama. All you got to do is watch it from last year. But they... talk about it. Yeah, I think you're right. And he doesn't seem like he's ready yet, or that he's going to be. There's not any guarantee that he's going to be ready when fall camp starts either, man. They can be tricky. You're right about that. Yep. You did? I think it was 10 at the end of the third. I think it was 17 at the end of the third quarter. It was a terrible, terrible, terrible job. Oh, yeah. What do you mean by that? Technically, they lost to Oklahoma, so Smoot wasn't wrong. What do you mean they weren't? He wasn't wrong. Come on, man. They also lost to Vanderbilt. People judge it so hard on spring games. Yeah, I think it's a little much. I think, look, at the end of the day, they're not showing a whole bunch, and a lot of things can happen over a summer. It's a new coaching staff. He's got to be more prepared than they were. They're going to have to run the football too, just like anybody else. But I didn't think they did a great job with him last year. They should have cut him loose. I don't know. Listen, I saw him. I saw different things from him. I saw his feet underneath him when he made the throws. I didn't see a bunch of crow hop looking shit, sidearm stuff. He was definitely throwing it more over the top. I don't really care so much about that part, about the arm angles. I mean, I think quarterbacks in this day, they throw it a lot of different ways. I think you have to have your feet underneath you. For what I saw, he did the other day. I mean, you look at the Sategna throw, it was legit. It was legit. It was a dime and, 76-yard touchdown? He threw it with confidence. Now he missed Parker on that throw, overthrew him on that. It would have been a touchdown as well. He had a couple misses, but like I said, there's nothing that he could have shown me on Saturday, OU Revenge Tour, that would have said to me that he's all the way there and that he's fixed. Nothing. Okay? At the end of the day, you still have to kind of, at the end of the day, you still have to do that under fire, right? What I did see, though, is all he can really show us right now is that he's working at it. You can tell he's working at it. He looked confident. Is his mechanics all the way better? Probably not. I mean, and is he going to fall back to bad habits? I would guess so. Listen, you get those things ingrained in you, and it's tough. Just bottom line, it's tough. But what you can fix, maybe you can't fix those mechanics. What you can fix is what you do around him, which is protecting better. Bringing in the guys that they brought at tight end is first off, that's a big security blanket when you got 6'7", 6'8" guys running down the field, that you can throw to, right? And on top of that, they could run the football, which they need to do that. They need to. I'm going to tell you this: he's all they got. Beau Bentley is not going to be ready to be the starter in this offense. He's not. I'm not saying that he may not be good. He may be very good down the line. Today, he is not ready to be the starting quarterback. They better go with Whit Neubauer because he can rip it, by the way. That being said, they're not in as good a shape backup-wise as they were a year ago. You need to keep this dude upright or your season could go down the drain. Mateer's who you got. So they need to just, I'm glad that's been the focus. Look, he needs to work on his game. He knows that. He don't even need to tell him. But he has to stay healthy. So what if they run the football like they should, and it looks like they are? I mean, we saw a lot of. I haven't seen these formations in a long time at OU. A long time. It's not going to be a base RPO system, which is a great thing. You can do things to make it easier for him, and he doesn't have to be perfect mechanically. He just has to make good decisions. And if you don't keep him sped up, it'll be better off for him. Run the football, make it easier on him. Don't put, like Coach Powers said, you got to take some of that shit off his plate. Got to. He cannot be, because Here's the deal. He's not Baker Mayfield. He can't win it for you all by himself. And by the way, Baker didn't have to do it all by himself either. But having the expectation that he's going to carry you, be like a Caleb Williams type of dude, that isn't going to work. We know that. We saw that. Especially if you're injured. It's not going to be Bentley. It can't be right now. It's just because he's not going to be ready. He's not going to be ready. I think he's talented. I think he could throw it. I'll still tell you that I don't think he was as good as the other guy that they had coming in, but he wouldn't be playing this year either. At the end of the day, they need to keep him upright. And he, the main thing is, yes, he's working on the things that everybody's asking him to work on, right? He's working on those things. You can see it. You can see that he's made adjustments and he's working at that. Now, I would tell you that you will almost definitely see some of those bad habits creep back up in, because you know what? He's not going to ever be perfect. It's the job of this coaching staff to make it easier for him. To make it easier and to manufacture offense that doesn't require him to rush for 100 yards a game or a couple touchdowns and all that. It cannot be that. Make it easy on him to be able to go down the field by running the ball and making them, respect your run game and honor it and know that they have to, come up and put some guys in the box or you're going to eat them alive. You can do that. He can do better. Oh, I'm going to be, you want to talk about Twitter being toxic? This motherfucker going to be toxic. Right here. Look no further. Yeah. Yeah, if you plant your feet, you're already ahead of the game. No matter what angle we're talking about. If you can throw, now it's tougher because he's not a big dude. So, getting it over the top and throwing in here's what I'll tell you that I saw some differences. He was throwing at different speeds. You didn't see everything with Mateer last year was like a fastball. No, he wasn't changing trajectories, wasn't layering footballs, any of that kind of stuff. You didn't see it. You need to see more of that moving forward. And we saw some different balls where he was throwing it in front of safeties and between safeties and linebackers. That's something you didn't see a ton of. You got to be able to take some off of it. But I'm telling you, just having the tight ends and running the ball is going to be, it should help him be a better football player. End of story. It should help him be a better football player. That's how I feel. Yeah. Man, you don't ever know. It could be wild. Dramatically different from last year. Came from D2, I believe. He was FCS. Are you talking about? Yeah, he looked pretty good. Listen, I mean, again, he looked pretty good. He wasn't going up against the number one so much, but he threw a couple of big time. He had a couple of big time throws, and then, I mean, it looked really slow, but he took off on a scramble himself and got some yardage out of it. Actually, old Witt did. He looked better than both the other two guys. He definitely looked better than the other two guys. He'd be my number two if I had anything to say about it. Hopefully that's the case. We'll see. Discord. Yeah, well, you guys let me know at this point, what is your expected top four in the SEC for this year? Well, I mean, you can always change it later, and we'll ask it again later. What's up, Bishop? Well, they do pretty well at it. We'll say, how about that sweep in Austin last week? Damn. That was something. Jasir Rogers looked very good. He did. Pretty impressed with him. McKenzie as well. Look, Mackenzie Allen, he looked really good. And Isaiah Sategna still looked like he's a bad dude, straight up. But I really liked the way that the running game looked. I liked the way that they were attacking it. I enjoyed watching it. And so, look, at the end of the day, it's just the spring game. There's plenty to go. They know that. Coach V said it plenty. They got a long ways to go. But it looked like a competent offense would be run. That's what I could say. I like that. And I think the offensive line is going to be pretty good if they stay healthy. I think it hinges on that more than anything else. But all right, guys, I've been going for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Make sure that you hit that like button, subscribe if you would. Hey, you know what? I got a new affiliate sponsor I want you to check out real quick before I get out of here. Intake breathing. If you struggle with snoring and all that kind of stuff, you need to check this out. It's not a big, I'll just get like free stuff, but I use it. I use this stuff and it has helped me sleep so much. You get better oxygen. I even use it during the day, like playing golf, stuff like that, breathing better. It helps a ton. Check this out. Want a more comfortable way to breathe through your nose, put an end to dental issues caused by mouth breathing, and stop snoring? Meet Intake Breathing. This simple magnetic system is designed to support easy, comfortable nose breathing at night, during workouts, and throughout your day. It's quick to apply, comfortable to wear, and built for real life. Better comfort, better routine, and better breathing. Scan the QR code and get 15% off your Intake Starter Kit today. Visit Intake Breathing to learn more. Hey everybody, before we get back to the show, I just want to take a second to shout out our partners at MyBookie. Hey, if you're watching games in college football, NFL, the NBA, NHL, or combat sports, you may as well get some action on it. MyBookie lets you bet on anything, anywhere, and anytime using point spreads, totals, money lines, and even futures. Hey, you can even bet live while the game is going on. If you're new, they'll even match your initial deposit up to $1,000, so your money goes further right out of the gate. At MyBookie, you can use the online sportsbook or play casino games, many of which feature live dealers. All of it's in one place, and it works just as smoothly on your cell phone as it does on your laptop. MyBookie allows you to deposit with cryptocurrency, features top-notch customer service, plus a rewards program that actually pays you for being a regular player. So if you're going to put action on the games anyway, do it the smart way and deposit with MyBookie and Hall of Fame Media. Just click the link in the description, hofmedia.us/mybookie, and you can take advantage of your first deposit match right now. You can support the show and get more bang for your buck all in one click. Quick reminder though, whether you're gambling at the casino or online, make sure it's only for entertainment purposes. Never bet more than you can afford to lose, and don't go chasing losses like a knucklehead. If you or someone you know needs help, text or call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER. All help is free and confidential. All right, I'm back, but just for a second. Guys, make sure you do check those guys out with the intake breathing. I know a lot of you guys struggle with snoring. I guarantee it. I know a lot of you guys do. It helps a ton. You should check it out. It helped out the program as well. But hey, we're still trying to get to 5,000. I cannot believe how long it's taken to get to 5,000 subs. But make sure that if you're not already a subscriber, get over there and subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. Go over there and check out Coach Smoot as well. We'll see you all on the next one. Glad to be back, by the way.